If you are a bank customer and you have your investments parked in the bank, and if you are worried about its safety, join me, join the club. I am also concerned about the growing incidences of bank frauds. Bank frauds are not new. It has been there right from the existence of bank. We used to say jocularly that bank fraud started even before the bank started. Okay, so it is running parallelly because we are dealing with something very valuable. So there will always be attempts to take over or hoodwink the customer and take the money away. But there has been a steady increase, and recently there has been a spurt also. For instance, say in 2023, the bank frauds reached more than $550 billion, a whooping sum, which I don't think anybody can afford to lose. There are very many methods of bank frauds. There are three methods which are very common. The one is called phishing, wherein they used to send you some fake emails or something with links in order to get your details. Other method is using the stolen login credentials. It is called credential stuffing. That is, they steal the login ID and password from you and then start using it. The third one is impersonating like a bank official, acting like a bank official, and then manipulate to get all the details from the victims to share their personal information. And that is called social engineering. These three are fairly common in recent times. The recent spurt has happened more due to trust. That is, the authorized officials themselves trying to hoodwink the customers, cheat their money, and then move away. One incident that has been reported recently is from the HDFC Bank of Mumbai, wherein a relationship manager, an official who has been deputed or authorized to represent the bank, able to defraud the customer and loot money to the extent of many lakhs, nearing crore, I believe. I given the media report link in the description. You can have a reference to that. Let us go through briefly as to what exactly has happened. There is one customer by name, I think Meenakshi Kapuria or somebody, a senior citizen who was having some couple of crores as deposits in the bank. The bank has identified one relationship manager who will be personally attending to this customer. So slowly, this relationship manager, I think his name was something like Payal, okay, Payal Kothari, who was able to gain the confidence of the customer in the sense that she gave the signed check leaves and authority to the person to operate her account. And one fine day, she found that most of the amount has been siphoned off from her account. This is a very, very shocking incident because trust has been breached. That is where it has hit the headlines everywhere because an official representing the bank, authorized by the bank, defrauding the customer. There are many other types of frauds that can also happen, like the bank officials themselves trying to use your account as a money mule. I think we have seen the money mule. I given a separate video. Link is given in the description. You can see that. That is using your account to siphon off or to transact some other's business or even illegal business. That is money mule. And if an account has not been operated for quite a long time, they used to call it a dormant account or something, it will be milking the dormant account. Okay. And the bank employees themselves frauding their own colleagues. Like if somebody has moved away from the system using their login ID and password, they'll be doing something. So the ultimate blame will come to that employee and not to this fraudster. These are all very common types of fraud that is happening here. So the issue is this. Banks have been in existence for quite some time now. How was the olden days of banking? Let's have a thought about why there is a sudden spurt in the banking frauds now. I know the banks right from about 1975 or something. Okay, nearly close to 50 years I've been working in a bank. I've been a customer of the bank also. Traditional banking, like we used to have it in 60s and 70s, they were built more on trust. The systems are so tight that it will be difficult to defraud. Okay, we used to say that under such a compact banking system, it will be very difficult to commit a fraud. And even if you commit one, that fraud could come out at any point of time. There are so many checks and balances, so it has to come out. Then technology was brought in. Technology heralded a new, fast, and accurate era, but as is with every advantage, it was also bringing in its own risks, particularly for people who are not conversant with what is happening in there. In the traditional banking, the accent was more on physical evidences, like you go to the bank, you give a check, you sign a check and give it to the counter. Then they will verify your signature, they will verify the date, etc. They will verify whether your check is in order in all aspects, then only make the money. Similarly, when once you deposit money also, you will be given a receipt, counterfoil. Or if you carry a passbook, an entry will be made in the passbook also. And if you make a deposit, you will also be given a physical deposit receipt. And you can demand and get statements, printed statements also. So traditional banking was run on that. And when once you give some huge amount you want to withdraw, there are many other safeguards are also built in the system, like in the form of a maker checker. Say if you give a 25,000 check, somebody makes the entry, some other official will also check whether the entry is correct. Then they will verify your signature and validate your check, etc. So there will be multiple levels of security that will be going through before parting with your money. And supposing you issue a check to somebody and you realize that it should not have been issued, or you do not want to go ahead with the payment, there are always avenues for course corrections, like you can make a stop payment. People have failed to realize that more responsibilities are come on the customer side in electronic banking rather than on the traditional side. In the traditional banking, you have to sign, they will verify only signature. Here, instead of signature, you have what is called a password or a pin. Okay, creating it is your responsibility. Maintaining it is your responsibility. And secretly maintaining, there's a difference. Maintaining is password or pin maintenance. Maintaining secrecy is also your responsibility. So, when once a check is given in the counter, people verify whether everything is correct and whether the person the carrying is also correct. Whereas in the case of electronic banking, there is no such thing. Anybody who has access to your account with a valid password, finish. The transaction is done. Any leakage of password, the onus is on you as the customer. So, validation happens only against the PIN, whereas in the traditional form, signature, date, words and figures, everything will be checked there. In traditional banking, if somebody is able to forge your signature, only one payment, only one check could be defrauded, whereas the modern day avatar of your signature is the password or PIN. If that is compromised, they can entirely wipe out your investments there. So that carries a greater risk. Okay, so there is a huge dependency on the customer in maintaining his password and also validating it. With your stolen signature, one cannot have complete access to your investments or account, whereas with one stolen password they can loot your completely drain your account. So one thing we should realize when we have an account and we choose to operate it electronically is that a large majority of responsibility has been shifted to the customer from the banks. Does this mean that the modern day banking is not in any way helpful to the customer? No, it has its own advantages. There's a speed of transaction. Huge amount can be transferred in just seconds across the globe, and everything is paperless. Okay, there is no dependency on your printed checkbook or a printed deposit receipt. Supposing you want to renew a deposit when you are away from India also, you can do it online without producing a deposit receipt. And even if you open a new deposit also, officially issue a e-receipt also. Electronic instructions can be given anywhere, and for any operation you can open, you can close, you can renew deposit, you can transfer funds. All these are advantages. No physical step of having to carry all your things. And you can, supposing people used to come rushing saying that today is the last date for making the payment for University of Madras. Here no such thing, no hurry at all. You can do it even at the last minute, because you can electronically transfer things here. Most importantly, you need not go to the bank. You need not visit the bank or branch, but still you can get all your banking transactions are done. There is no dependency on the bank, or there is no dependency on the staff, and accuracy and speed are the hallmarks of the modern day banking here. In the name of convenience, in the name of technology, we have thrown open some areas for the fraudsters to come in here. So, what is most important now is that one needs to be aware of what you are doing. So, the need of the hour is the awareness. Traditionally, people can do banking transaction without any knowledge. Just you carry a check and then you can do it, or you carry a cash, deposit it. Whereas modern day banking cannot be done like that. We stopped going to banks and the criminals started visiting our accounts. When we wanted to withdraw cash, we used to go to bank, but now we go to ATM. No need for withdrawal slips, anything. All you need is only a plastic card. You can do it. When you wanted to pay somebody, we avoided cash and made a card payment. And we started making all the purchases over online, and also making all the banking transaction through internet. And this technology has given rise to some laziness or laid back attitude on the part of customers also. What happens is that repeatedly, if you want to do something, supposing you want to pay monthly rent or monthly EMI, okay, you started giving instructions to the bank, standing instructions or auto payments. But you are not tracking them. The customers have failed to track them. When once they start tracking, at times it becomes too late. This is where we allowed ourselves to be breached. We allowed the crooks to enter our financial domain. So these are the areas in which the people can access your an account or your investments. Now, let us see as to how we can protect ourselves from these black sheeps inside the bank. Let me assure you that not every bank or not every bank staff is a black sheep. Black sheep, as you know, is one in many, not many black sheeps. Okay, so even if one black sheep we are going to encounter, we are going to lose our hard earned money. Should we do that? How to protect it? There are some tips here. Obviously, number one is maintaining secrecy. Never reveal your credentials. Previously, even if you dropped your checkbook somewhere, you need not worry. You have to sign there, etc. Whereas if you are going to lose your PIN or password, anybody can access your account and take away all the money. And just because you have deposited some amount in the bank, it doesn't mean that you have to sit quiet. You have to closely track all your transactions. Regularly check your bank account. Some banks are sending statements periodically. Don't ignore that. Go through the statement, just have a glance at it, see if there are any transaction that you have not done. Okay, that is most important. That is where these things get caught. And you should learn. The moment you start using technology, you should also start learning some basics about it. At least learn as to how you can use technology to your advantage. So learn the basics of internet banking and periodically visit your internet banking and then have a look at it. Learn to look at how you can interpret your bank account. Go through the statement, and every debit that is being made, be it standing instruction auto debit or debit card transaction or EMIs, please have a track. Don't ignore anything. See, banks are playing safe. Whenever an operation is happening in your account, they inform you. They will be sending the update through an SMS or a mail or both. And incidentally, also one more layer of protection is periodical statement, beyond which they will say you cannot expect more than from me. But it is for you to stay connected. So, bottom line is never get disconnected from your bank. The channels through which they are communicating are number one is SMS, number two is email. SMS. SMS is the backbone of your transactions. Never, never, never ignore any communication from your bank. Okay, SMS, even if it comes at the dead of night, you have to see that because it is alerting you saying that a certain transaction has happened, be it credit or debit. If it is debit, your money is gone. If it is credit that is not relating to you, somebody is trying to use your account. So never, never ignore an SMS. And when you make a transaction and an SMS comes, check whether the amount is one you have made. And similarly for any other standing instructions, everything also. And with this SMS also comes the balance. Have a look at the balance. Just a cursory look. Say you may be having a 1 lakh, a regular maintaining 1 lakh balance. It could come to 90 or 85. Supposing it drops to 15,000, you need to immediately check whether any transaction I have made. So SMS is the backbone of communication between you and your bank. And particularly when you make a transaction and if the SMS doesn't come also, please be careful because in case your mobile phone is hacked or compromised, there is a possibility that the SMS could be diverted to the fraudster's mobile. So you need to keep track of that also. So please do not ignore any SMS. Similarly, on the email, email is one more line of communication the bank is trying to inform you. With respect to email, you need to have a closer look at it. Check the sender, whether the sender is original and whether it is the email is very generic or it is addressed to you. If it says dear all or dear Mr. So and so, there is a lot of difference in that. If it is dear all means that means it has been sent to many people. And see whether you are in the 2 or CC or in blind carbon copy. If it is BCC, that means it's a general communication sent to many people and there could be a lot of fraudulent emails coming to you. So look for any spelling mistakes. That is how the phishing cybercrime is being enacted. There could be a lot of any spelling mistakes. There could be some threats. If you don't do this by today, your account will be frozen. Your card will be blocked, etc. Time-bound action threat, they are called. So never react to such time-bound threats. Okay, and don't click on any link that is coming through your SMS or email. So these are basic precautions you need to take. In case of any doubt, please go to the bank and then do it. Or please type the bank's web address like www.iob.in in the browser and you start logging into your account, not through the link of anybody. In the case of the HDFC Bank fraud, which the relationship manager conducted, the customer came to know about it somewhat late because the customer was not frequenting her account. So that brings us to one more important activity that you need to practice. That is, keep your account active. What do we mean by active? Every bank has a policy of keeping track of the active accounts, and in case they are not being operated frequently, they will move it into a status of what is called as inoperative account or dormant account. So check your bank for the policy. What is that policy? How long if I do not operate, you will move my account to an inoperative account. Supposing they say we don't operate your account for 3 months, then we will move to inoperative. In that case, what you have to do is that every 3 months you need to make compulsorily one debit transaction. So what I do as a practice is that I make a transaction every month. It's simple. In the current age, it is common for people to have multiple accounts. So if I have two accounts A and B, just debit A 100 rupees, credit B, and again debit B and credit A. That's all. So you need to make a debit transaction to keep the account active. Otherwise, it will move into what is called an inoperative or dormant status. What happens if you don't do this? See, we are talking about the black sheeps in the bank. So some of these black sheeps are constantly on the lookout for accounts that are not being operated frequently. So they will be keeping track of these accounts. They will know that okay, this account has not been operated, or this particular account holder is not in country itself. So they will start trying to use or misuse that account by either milking that account or making use of that account to make some illegal transaction. This is called milking the dormant account. This is one type of fraud which is very, very old, but still it is being practiced, I understand. So better to keep your account active so that you don't fall into such cybercrime. One more suggestion I would like to make to protect yourself from these frauds is that make an occasional visit to the bank. Try to meet the official there, manager, senior manager, whoever it is, just as a courtesy call. Develop a rapport with the staff there and try to find out whether anybody you can make him as a single point of contact so that in case of any need, you can always call them and talk to them. But one need to be very careful not to overdo this. You can believe somebody, but never to the extent of giving them a signed check leaf or blank letter or giving them a free will to operate your account. That is where such frauds come into picture. Also, I will suggest in case you are traveling particularly to international travel for about 3 months or 6 months. Better informally inform the bank also that you are traveling. So in case you inform about your travel, they will keep it in mind. And in case there some any fraudulent attempt is going to be made in your account, that could come in handy. Know your customer is a practice through which the banks are collecting your latest data so that they can get in touch with you. So it is important that you keep this updated. When you change your mobile number, when you change your active email ID, or when you move your residential address or location, please submit a fresh KYC so that the system is updated with your latest communication details. And when once you give any document as a proof of this KYC, make sure that it is clearly mentioned on the face of this document that it has been given for the KYC purposes on so and so date. That is very, very important. So it is very necessary that we need to be extremely careful when dealing with the present day banking. Never believe prima facie any notice, any communication from the bank, be it SMS or email or anything. And when once we have started using internet banking, we need to know the basics of this concept. That is how to set a limit, how to change the default limit, etc. See, please understand that you can put a cap on how much of transaction can be made per day internet through internet banking. So you can set the limit. You can set the limit as a 10,000, 5,000, etc. So whenever you want, you can change it. This will help you in preventing one more fraud. That is, if somebody is able to get hold of your password, they can operate only until that limit. To change that limit, again, he has to apply for that. For that, the OTP will come to your mobile only. Remember, you have lost only your password and your registered mobile is still in your presence, so you have to respond to an OTP. So learn to set the limit. Note that the default limit that is being given is always high, so you have to change your limit accordingly. There are other preventive measures you can use, like the password is no doubt is the key to protecting your account. So please make it as strong and long password. How to set a strong or long password, I have already done a detailed video giving a link for that in the description. Please have a look at it. It is not necessary that you just create a password, but you should also maintain it. What do you mean by maintaining it? You have to periodically change your password. You should not repeat the password. Previous passwords, don't repeat it. And if you have multiple accounts, don't have the same password for all the accounts. In addition to the password, there is one important protection you can take care of is two-factor authentication. You can employ this technique not only for your internet banking account but for other accounts also like social network or WhatsApp, email, etc. That is, to access your account, it is not enough that the person has only your password. You can introduce one more factor like your OTP. That is, after entering the password, the system will ask for a OTP which will come to your registered number. So, in case your password is compromised, somebody is able to get it, still they will not be able to access your account without this OTP because the OTP will come to the registered mobile number which will be in your possession. So, please ensure that this two-factor authentication is employed. How to install this two-factor authentication? Again, a detailed video has been posted. Link has been given in the description. Most of the banks are already implementing it. Please check with your bank. On the topic of protecting your interests and investments in a bank, in case you are going to have a safe deposit locker, make sure that you periodically visit your locker and then check for the contents of it. There have been very many instances wherein there are reports that some branches have been flooded with the torrential rain or some insects have damaged the contents of the locker also. You may be keeping some valuable document, your house document, etc. Just to ensure that you everything is intact, please make a periodical visit. At least once in 3 months or 6 months, I suggest you make a visit and check this. This is one more way of taking precautions for towards this. To sum up, what are the ways to protect yourself? Number one is staying aware and staying alert. Please keep your eyes and ears open to any incident that is happening there. Whenever you come across any cybercrime incident, please attentively listen to it. Not only listen to it, but also please share with your near and dear ones, your friends, your seniors at homes, etc. Because only through awareness you can prevent cybercrime. Don't stay quiet. That is most important here. Despite all the sophisticated methods used by the cyber criminals, the most effective way of defense is human attentiveness. Please be aware of this. Next one is a cautious behavior. You have to be very, very cautious whenever you are handed over some message. Just pass before responding to any communication, be it through an SMS or through an email, whatever it is. So do not respond in haste. Do not share any unwanted details. Most important thing. The next one is use all the available preventive measures like setting the limits, two-factor authentication, how to check for extra. Most importantly, don't click on any link sent to you from anybody, even though it has been sent from a very secure source. Importantly, please have an antivirus software installed on your device, be it your computer or your mobile or your laptop. These antivirus software will be your first line of defense as they will prevent any malware or virus entering your system. Unfortunately, despite all the precautions you are taking, if you are going to become a cybercrime victim, what are the things that you need to do? Number one is please stay calm and do not be panicky. Number one. Number two, if your bank account is impacted, freeze the account, block the account, or if your card has been used, block the card. Inform the bank immediately at the earliest. Lodge a cybercrime complaint at the earliest, preferably within the first 2 or 3 hours, because they are called golden hours, within which, if you report, there is a greater chance of recovering all the amount or loss you have made. How to lodge a cybercrime complaint? I have given a detailed video, the link for which is given in the description also. So, it is not sufficient if you only have an account. You need to keep a close track of it. And in the current age, you also need to know the basics of internet banking and avail yourself of the security practices that have been implemented in the system by the bank, by the Government of India, and by the Reserve Bank of India. Staying vigilant. identifying potential red flags, implementing strong security procedures can protect one better. In case you are going to stay vigilant, you are going to be aware of the preventive measures you can take, and also if you are aware of the reactive steps you have to make in case a cyber criminal is approaching you, I am sure you are going to stay protected. I would request everyone to stay safe, cyber safe.